This is the Weekly Scramble, a place where we chat about life over a cold one or two. It's time to belly up to the pod with Mike Frattallone and your host, Chris Reavers.
That's right. It's time for the Weekly Scramble. My name is Chris Reavers, and by my side, his name is Mike Frattallone with Frattallone's Hardware and Garden Stores. Hello, Michael.
How you doing, Reavers?
I am well. Joe brought you up, oddly enough, during Garage Logic today.
Really?
Well, I can't remember the exact context, but it was some. Oh, I remember. He had mentioned Kenny and Johnny's show, something about their show.
The Krabby Coffee Shop.
But then he was looking at me saying, well, why did you title the show that way? I said, I don't have anything to do with their show. He just thought I would have labeled whatever.
Sure.
And I said, no, I do the show with Mike. And I said, and we have a major announcement on the show today.
Yeah.
And he said, well, what is it? And I said, no. The major announcement comes on our show.
On our show. We get
Garage.
to pick the major announcement.
Is that not Joe in a nutshell?
That is, he just
Light
wanted to
goes
break
on,
the
monkey
news.
hits the button. He goes, well, what is it? No, the announcement will come on the Weekly Scramble.
Oh, that's funny.
See, that's what we call a tease in the business,
yes,
Joe.
and we do have a major announcement.
So please, we have a lot of stuff we need to get to on this show, but I acquiesce the time and the floor to the major announcement here on
Nice
the Weekly
word, too,
Scramble.
like acquiesce. I feel like we elevated our vocabulary here with acquiesce.
Absolutely.
So this is not about the Weekly Scramble, but it is about Frattallone's Hardware and Garden Stores. We bought a new store today, February 1st. We bought a store in Waconia, Minnesota.
Beautiful city.
Yeah, it's Everson's Hardware Hank, the fine Eversons. It's Marianne and Ron and Tracy and Deborah, the people who owned and ran the store, decided to retire after only 56 years.
Wow.
Yeah, Ron is like an 80-year-old guy, super sharp.
From the area?
Yeah, they live really close, right?
Nice.
And been in that market for 56 years, running the hardware store, and they have a beautiful store. It's a beautiful hardware store. So,
cool.
So they wanted to retire, and they contacted us, me particularly, about 10 months ago.
Oh, wow.
And it took about 10 months to figure it out. And we finally, commenced the whole thing last night. So we finished up, and then the very first thing we do, our guys go in there this morning, and we set off the alarm. We have no idea how to turn the alarm off.
No.
We had to call Ron on his very first real day of retirement in 56 years and say,
we know you're not working today, but...
I'm sorry. I know it's 6:15. Can you please tell us how to shut off the alarm? We had written down the number wrong, so we couldn't get the alarm off, but it worked really, really great. Fantastic group of people that we bought it from, the Eversons. And today was our first day running it, and it was busy. And I was like, holy buckets. Like, Waconia is a busy town.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a cool town. I went to downtown to go to lunch, and I stopped at a couple cool restaurants. There's this new place that's going to open called Bodie Gray's that looks really cool. And I didn't know that from their little old downtown, you can see the lake.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what a setup.
Well, I was going to tell you, so the Waconia Brewing Company, which is on the hill that overlooks the lake a little bit.
Right by Bodie Gray's, exactly.
So they have, don't ask me what weekend it is because I don't remember, but their town festival, I'm telling you right now, take your family there. It's so much fun. When we used to live, we did it once when William was really, really little, when we were still living in Chanhassen. And then one time when the boys were younger, when we lived in Carver, we went there. Their town festival is really, really cool.
The more I drive out there, although I'm a little mad at Siri because she's given me different directions to get out there every day. Like when
Depends on traffic.
It depends on traffic. So I'm taking all these back roads, but I had to drive from Waconia to Burnsville yesterday.
Oh, boy.
Last night at like 10 o'clock because we had to do the deal, went out to dinner, and then I had to go pick up my kids. Actually, technically 9 o'clock. I needed to be out of there and to pick up my girls at 9:30. And I'm driving through towns I didn't even know existed.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like,
Let me guess. Can I guess? Can I guess your route?
Yep.
So you left Waconia.
Oh, no, wait. If you think I know any road that I'm on, you're out of luck.
No, I knew that.
Okay.
I know my guy. I knew you didn't have a chance. So you left Waconia. You headed east on Highway 5.
Actually, I think some 284 road. Is that a road?
284.
Yeah, okay.
You went through Jordan.
Oh, I think it did go through Jordan.
You went through Jordan last night. You probably zipped through Prior Lake.
I went through this little. Does Jordan have a little downtown? Because there was a cute little downtown I went through. I'm like, I've never seen this, but I've been to Jordan, so I thought I would have known that.
So 284 and Highway 21 intersect in the heart of downtown Jordan.
Okay,
Minnesota.
so that's, I think, and that was cute, although it was quiet. Everything was shut down.
It was
right?
low key. It's a Tuesday night. Come on,
it was quiet and low key.
So then you probably zipped through Prior Lake, and then a certain part of Lakeville, and then you got to Burnsville.
Yeah, what was weird is when I got to Burnsville, I knew I was coming from the west, right? I was coming west of Burnsville, and I came into Burnsville on the east side of Burnsville. I'm like, how the hell am I coming in from the east? It's like I went
swung around. Did you go by McStop? What were you doing?
I had to get to this volleyball place, so I think it took me in kind of a weird way to do it.
So let me ask you about said acquisition, because I find this kind of stuff fascinating, and maybe nobody else does, but I certainly do. So it's kind of cool. You guys go in, you buy a store.
Yep.
You literally buy a store. Yep. What's the process like? Do you? I mean, obviously you retain the people that work there to come in and help you with the transition and everything like that. How does that work?
Yeah, you don't always retain the people. Sometimes they want to retire, and sometimes they just want they love. Here, and this is going to sound really weird, but the better the store is run, the more likely the employees stay with you.
I see.
Right?
Yeah,
so if you buy a great store with a great vibe like the Eversons had, all the employees are like, great, let's keep running a great store. If you buy a store where the people feel like you're picking them up because all things are spinning down the toilet, they get disgruntled and they get mad, right? Okay. They're like, oh, you want to make changes. It's like, well, we want to make changes because something
changes
wasn't right.
Yeah.
But this store, the Eversons Waconia, the Hardware Hank in Waconia, all we want to do is put a cherry on top of the store. I mean, it's a beautiful store. I mean, when I say beautiful, it's a beautiful, beautiful store. It just got all redone because they made a frontage road there. They did a bunch of stuff on the highway, and it's a great store. We're going to add a garden center. We're going to add steel. We're going to add Weber and Toro and all this stuff. In fact, we're going to about double the amount of stuff that's in the store, like literally over double. So it's going to be busy. I was warning customers that come in that were super excited, and they had heard about Frattallone's. In fact, many people had heard about this show in Garage Logic, right?
Cool.
They heard about, I thought it was really cool. But what was interesting is I said to everybody, be prepared to come in next month and say, what have they done? Like, this looks destroyed, because we have to turn a couple aisles and things, right?
Oh, sure.
So we're going to break it and put it back together. And it's like, ooh, please just bear with us just a couple of months. Luckily, February is the slowest month in hardware. You might not know that, but it's the slowest month of the year for hardware. So we have like 1.5 solid months of work to do that people don't need a lot of stuff from the hardware store.
That makes total sense.
So
but it's an exciting time.
It
That's
is
cool.
a very exciting time. I wish it was a little closer. It's about an hour from my house, right? And I kind of feel what you feel doing this drive, right?
Yeah.
In fact, I drove there to the studio from there.
So you literally had my old commute.
Yeah, I had your old commute, and it's not that bad.
No, it's
right?
not.
But I don't know if I'd want to do it all day, every day.
Twice a day, every day.
You put some miles on the car. Yeah.
Well, hi.
Yeah. I think it would go real quick. You're putting on 36,000 miles a year.
I have a prediction to make.
Yes.
And I almost want to make the prediction without you hearing it, but that would make for a really boring show. Mm-hmm. I already know this, but if let's say we chat at end of summer, State Fair time.
Okay.
You and I are sitting and chatting. By that time, because I know you're going to be heavily involved with this transition, and I know you're going to be making a lot of trips, you are going to fall in love with the city of Waconia, and I know exactly why. Okay,
I'm going to let you can tell me why. But I do know that I already really think it's charming. Yeah. Right? And I'm seeing it, and I had been in Waconia before, but I would argue that right now Waconia is kind of the ugliest time, right? It's winter, right?
Yeah,
there's just
the whole
nothing
state is ugly.
nothing's pretty right now.
Exactly.
But when I was downtown, and I was like, wow, restaurants are cool here, bars are cool here, the water's cool.
Wait until summer.
Okay.
When it's boat season.
Oh, yeah.
I know you're going to be sitting at, whether it's, you and your beautiful wife are going to be sitting there having dinner, or maybe a drink at the Waconia Brewing Cup, whatever. Yeah. And you're looking at the lake going, holy crap, this city is awesome.
It would be.
In fact, because when we just last two times that my wife and I moved, when we were looking and we were still living in Chanhassen, we looked at 2 different houses in Waconia that we desperately wanted to move to. The problem is it was out of our price range.
Yeah, Waconia, I think, is getting pricey.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Right?
But had we been able to financially make it work, we would have absolutely moved there.
So I've been driving by occasionally. Siri takes me on Highway 5, so I get to drive past Prince's place.
Oh yeah,
right. And before you'd say, you remember on 5, and you'd try to describe where it was. I'm like, I have no idea where Prince's. there was never a reason for me to go there. There's always cars parked out front, and I think, what are they doing there?
Well, it didn't used to be that way when he was still alive.
Okay.
But since he departed this earth, there's been a lot of stuff going on there, whether it's because I know now that they're doing tours a lot, so they can be doing any type, when it's not reunion, that's the wrong word. When it's the anniversary of his untimely death, that's always a massive weekend at that facility for tours.
And I think they're doing recording still, right? So stars are there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in a lot of cases too, bands will rent out his studio just for the recording purposes alone. In fact, there's a great story. Who was telling? Was it Johnny telling the story? This very famous guitar player who happened to be there when Prince was still alive went down to the kitchen to make himself a cup of tea or whatever, and Prince's bodyguard came down and said, "What are you doing here?" And he thought, "Oh, well, we rented out the studio." And he was very nervous because Prince's bodyguard's a big dude, and said, "No, you need to get out of here. Prince is here." And he clearly didn't know who this guy was.
Okay, so fill me in.
I can't remember the name, and that would have made the story
but I heard that
better.
story because you guys talked about it on GL.
Yeah.
So one thing I'm not understanding is, did Prince live there?
Sometime he had 6 different residences.
So okay, but when
he
he was walking to the kitchen, or the commissary is what they called it, the guy told the story. Was that Prince's kitchen he was in?
No, I think there were different parts of the house.
Okay,
but he had a downtown residence.
Sure.
This was
because I think he had a house in Minnetonka too, and just a house.
And then another one in Malibu and whatever. But this piece of property, I mean, there's a lot of land associated with that property as well. I mean, but he bought that back when Chanhassen was Lester Prairie.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's not a terribly pretty building.
It's
kind of weird. It's just it looks like a little warehouse in the middle of nowhere.
So before you get to, if you're heading eastbound on 5, basically that development that's just before there on the what would be the north side of Highway 5. Okay, that's where I used to live.
Oh, really? Okay.
So that's how close I was to
you
Paisley
were really
Park.
Close. Yeah.
And I did not see one show there in the 11 years I lived.
Did you not see one sighting of Prince? Did you see?
No. Well, I've told you my Prince story a million times.
Oh, I think you have.
Yeah, where I was running the Chanhassen Redbirds, and he and his girlfriend rode by on their bike and just said, "Is there a game today?"
Yeah, isn't that cool?
And I said, "Yeah, 7." I knew it. I tried to play like I didn't know who he was. Yeah. I said, "Yeah, we play at 7:00." Cool. And then he left.
Yeah. So
she was also very attractive. The woman that he was with.
she?
Yeah.
Man, how is it possible that some star gets it? One thing that I don't get, or I need a little help from our listeners. So I live in just south of St. Paul, right? Yep. In a town called Mendota Heights. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I live in Mendota Heights. It breaks me that I moved out of St. Paul, but I live in Mendota Heights.
Because you are Mr. St. Paul.
I lived in St. Paul pretty much all my life. I moved to Mendota Heights, which is literally a crossover. In fact, what's weird is I still postmark my posting Mendota Heights, yet I'm in Dakota County, not in Ramsey County. My water bill goes to the city of St. Paul. Everything is weird. So I feel like I'm still in St. Paul. But word on the street is that Johnny Knoxville is dating a girl from Mendota Heights. And he's frequenting the bars of Mendota like Bogies and Inoni and Lucky 13s. And like he's going to these places. Yet I can't.
Are you scoping them out?
I'm trying to find him because I think Johnny Knoxville's kind of a cool guy, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you know much about Johnny Knoxville, but
come on. I was born and raised on Jackass in college.
So, his big claim to fame, if you're not familiar with him, is he put on a bulletproof vest and he shot himself with a gun in his chest for kind of like a video thing to like show the world, and he just videotaped it, right? And no one had done something. I mean, obviously someone had done that, but very few people, just no moron adult guy had done that, right?
Right.
And he's done many, many other things. But another thing that I thought was kind of interesting is he was really into wearing a mask, right? He'd wear a mask to cover his eyes, and then he'd stand there and light a cigarette as they released a bull in the bullpen, right?
Yep.
And so this bull gourds him. Is that the word I'm talking about?
Yes,
right?
Yes.
And he hits him in the genitalia. And he rips his urethra. And Johnny Knoxville has to self-catheter, put a catheter in every time he pees for the next 3 years.
Oh.
For that one little stunt, he has to self-catheter himself for 3 years every time he wants to pee.
Oh.
Reavers.
I know.
Reavers.
No.
I mean, first of all, congratulations. That's what you get. Right? If you're willing to blindfold yourself and let a bull just run into you because you want to do a stunt, God bless you, right? But just think, what kind of guy are you? Like, okay, got to pee, hold on. And, because I can't do that.
I'm not doing that.
It's not going to work for me.
I'm not doing that.
It's not going to work. Yeah, so those are my things that I respect about Johnny Knoxville, and I'd like to meet him. I'd like to have, I'm not pretending to have a drink with him, but I'd like to see him around and say, hey.
That would totally be your thing.
I'd do one of these, like, Hey.
What's up?
Yeah. And I might not even do that. I might just, as he walks by, you can't hear this on the radio, but I'm just nodding my head up just a little bit. Not a lot.
Giving it the
Just
sup.
yeah.
Sup.
Just yeah. But with not even saying a word.
No.
Right? Yeah, because that would be cool.
So you and I have chronicled many topics on this show over the vast, however many years.
Almost
we've been
10
doing
years.
This. Yeah. So it was announced. Well, he
This morning.
self-announced. Well, I believe technically, was it late yesterday or was it actually this morning? That it was. Whatever. It doesn't matter. But Tom Brady has officially decided to call it a career.
Yes. Full retirement.
And here's how wide of a net someone like Tom Brady is able to cast. Okay, because I think it's a human interest story, just because of the fact that he's a mega star, all over a worldwide mega star, was married to a worldwide mega star. So he was living the Hollywood fairy tale life.
Yep.
Beautiful wife, beautiful family. In fact, they were running the 30 for 30 that he did with Charles Woodson. Those two played at Michigan together as college teammates and were involved in one of the most famous plays that helped launch Tom Brady's career, the Tuck Rule. Remember in 2002, where everyone thought it was a fumble, and it was a fumble, and it was ruled an incomplete pass. They go on to win, so on, so on. Okay, anyway, so he announces he's going to retire, and he posts it on Instagram, which is so 2023. Even more 2023 than that is the fact that it was made into a news story, and this is from, I got it from MSN.com, but it was outsourced from a different publication. It was a news story that Giselle, his ex-wife, made a comment on the video.
Oh, she did.
That itself turned
so
into...
So she commented on his Instagram post.
Correct.
Was it something like, "Congratulations, Tom," or was it, "Now you can pay me that back alimony"?
What do you think it was?
It was, "It's been an incredible career. I'm so excited for you. I look forward to seeing how you succeed in the rest of your life."
You are spot on.
Really? Okay.
The exact comment was, quote, "Wishing you only wonderful things in this new chapter of your life," along with a prayer emoji.
Oh. So so the prayer emoji. Now I'm wondering, like, I'm wishing you, and then she's like saying, "You're having such a tough time. I'm praying for you."
No. I
don't like that. She's being nasty.
No, I read into it.
She's a nasty woman.
I read into it as she is wishing him nothing but the best.
See what I just did to you, Reavers?
I know.
I did what every woman does to me. When I'll say, "Boy, do you look great in that pantsuit?" And they say, "What, do I look ugly in dresses? What is wrong? Why? What's wrong with me?" I'm like,
Right.
"Oh my God, I just said you look great in pantsuits."
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never had a person wear a pantsuit.
Could
so I
this
don't know.
be
Them getting rekindling?
No,
Yeah.
the rekindling of Tom and Giselle.
Could it be? Yeah.
But I also thought, so it was funny, Rookie and I were talking about this before we started to do the show today, before we started to do Garage Logic today. And I thought, I wonder at what point Tom realized that he was on a really lousy team that had zero chance to win the Super Bowl. Yeah, they made the playoffs, but they were in a really bad division. They won with, I think they were one game over or one game under 500.
I think they were, yeah.
They were not good.
Sure,
they were a bad team. I wonder at what point, whether it was week 8, week 4, and he just went, "What did I just do?
Yeah.
This just cost me everything."
Yep.
And then he was involved with the Bitcoin
The FTX
scandal,
thing,
the
yeah,
FTX thing. And granted, he does have a very lucrative television job waiting for him once his playing career
He's
is
not
over.
hurting. He's not hurting.
No, but I'm just saying, so it's not like he doesn't have anything to look forward to.
Let me ask you something.
No, please.
Who's the most pissed? That's all I'm going to say. That's the only question. Who is
in that scenario?
Yeah, who's mad now because Tom did this? Think it out.
Well, Tom?
No.
Oh.
Anybody playing in the Super Bowl. Because Tom, before the Super Bowl, he announced his retirement. You know why? Because they think he's going to be on Fox for the Super Bowl.
True.
And he's going to be the story.
I know who's the most pissed.
Who?
Greg Olson.
Greg Olson,
who
goes to number 2, right?
Who's the current Fox, color commentator for the A team. But I think he kind of knows going into this that he's second fiddle.
Right, he's Greg Olson.
Right.
He's not Tom Brady. But all Super Bowl talk has turned to Tom Brady talk.
You know what though? I don't necessarily agree with that because the Super Bowl itself is still going to be its own storyline.
It is, but if Tom is doing color for the first
Which
time
I don't think he
ever,
will, by the way. I
but
don't think he will.
I heard he was going to do something for the Super Bowl.
Okay, that part I didn't know.
That might be errant information. But they said, 1.8 million people are going to watch this. What a great way to kick off your career where you don't really, I don't think he's going to do color, right? Because I don't know if he actually has that skill yet. But even if he just sits in and makes some comments, that changes the dynamics of Fox Sports dramatically.
Then I guess, because Lord knows we don't have nearly enough pre and post game Super Bowl coverage. So maybe then that's what we're just going to have to do instead of because the game typically starts at 5:00. Then what we're going to have to do is start pregame at 4:00 on Friday.
Yes,
and
a couple days ahead of time.
Yeah, we're going to have to get ahead of this storm. Because
I think he's going to be good, don't you?
Yes, because he's so competitive about every aspect of his professional working life that he will outwork everybody to be the best color commentator that he can possibly be.
He's never going to beat Romo.
Well, and you know what, though?
Romo's unbelievable.
Did I share this? Well, it was on Monday Night Sports Talk. I'm so over him.
Really?
Yes. I thought at first, and again, this is me giving commentary on someone's broadcasting career, and I have no business doing that. I'm very aware of that.
You've been doing it for 25 years,
and I have no business doing this.
And the pinnacle is the weekly Scramble.
Right? Is I get to sit in here for an hour each week with you.
Yeah.
But I guess here's why I'm over Romo. I think at first the concept of him being in the booth was really novel. I think it was cool. It was the fact that he was just playing last year, and now he's in the booth, and he knows all the coaches associated with the game. He knows most of the players associated with the game. He knows route concepts. He knows schemes. He knows because that's what he's been doing for the last however many years playing is preparing to play the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs.
He knows every playbook they have.
And so when he's doing a game, he could say, well, here's what they're probably going to run in this given situation. And it went from that where now he's further removed from being involved in the game. And it's almost like he is the little kid in the booth that can't settle down.
Oh,
because at the end of did you watch the game on Sunday, the ending of the Chiefs and Bengals?
Yes, yep.
I just thought, Tony, stop talking because it was way too much. And I've always said, and this is just a personal, I've always been a bigger fan of, and maybe this goes back to my love of baseball broadcasters on the radio. Let the moment breathe when you're broadcasting. I get that. It's different than, when you're doing a podcast, you have to always be talking because if there's silence, that doesn't do the listener any good. Yeah. But in a setting like baseball or football, for instance, when a guy is kicking a game-winning field goal to send a team to the Super Bowl, there isn't really much that needs to be said. Everyone gets what's going on. Everyone realizes
much to that.
There was a massive penalty that this poor kid cost his team. Everyone gets that. So let the visual of this kid sitting on the bench crying speak for itself. Yeah. Let the 40-yard kick in the frigid weather at the end of the game speak for itself. Nothing really needs to be added, Tony.
So when you're not broadcasting, you're sitting on your couch.
I'm going to get so much mail about what I just said.
I think you're. I see where you're going, though. That makes a lot of sense. The way you're putting it makes a lot of sense because I think it was a very big moment when you're watching that kid sit on the bench crying.
Oh, man.
What would you do as a coach, out of curiosity? Because you've coached some, obviously not anything near that. What would you do as?
That's the beauty of really good coaches is their ability to know each and every individual player. So, for instance, some, need a kick in the rear end to get going. Some need to be yelled at to motivate. Yeah. But there are some where, I got to leave them be. Yeah. But in a what I did like was in the locker room, he had a teammate that was next to him saying, "Hey, this is my brother." Like, it wasn't ideal that he caused that penalty, but he's still our teammate. So I don't know, man. I don't know anything about the guy. I don't know anything about what his history was, what type of. But
when you watch it back, it wasn't that much of a penalty.
I still can't believe they threw the flag in that situation
because it was Mahomes went down on his own. He didn't go down because the guy pushed him.
But there was some theater, and to his credit, selling it a little bit more because he knew that, this is a great shot for us to get a free 15 yards.
Unbelievable.
So I don't know. To answer your question, I don't know because each that coach is going to know his player. But I will say this. I don't know what possibly you could go up to that kid and say that's going to make him feel better, because in my opinion, nothing is going to make him feel better.
If I was a quarterback, right, for that team, what's his name? Remind me of Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow. I would walk up to him and say, "Thank you. You owe me $400 million, right? Thank you. I never want to see your face again."
Oh, that's just mean.
Yes, because he is a moron. He cost their team by just complete stupidity and negligence and arrogance.
Right.
A trip to the freaking Super Bowl that these guys work every single minute of their lives to get to, and one moron does something so moronic, so unbelievably moronic, that it costs all those 52 guys, plus the 52 on the practice squad, plus every coach, plus the owners of the team, potential trip to the frickin' Super Bowl.
It's unfortunate that play did decide it at that moment, but the Bengals had a number of opportunities to win the game.
Yes, and they wouldn't have necessarily won the game anyways, but it could have ended in a tie. My thing is, you just can't make that mistake because it's just too big. As a human, I would have put my arm around him and I would have said something like, "You'll get over this." Right. And then I would have personally never gotten over it on his behalf, ever. I feel like he's obliterated. Like he's gone.
Yeah.
Right? What he cost. Remember when I told you that I interviewed Mike Morris about his career? Okay. And how he said his career was a complete and utter failure.
We were at the draft simulator place.
Yep. And he said his career was just a complete and utter failure because he was successful at his position, but he never won the Super Bowl, and that was the only thing that he was there to do. Right? They didn't at the first game of the year. They weren't saying, "Hey, let's see if we can have a 8-8 record this year." They said, "Let's see if we can go win the Super Bowl." Right? Yeah. And he was, and now that kid, by just something so flagrant and so stupid, cost them a chance to go to the Super Bowl. If you were the owners of that team and that guy did that, how would you ever? And his agent said, "Hey, my guy needs another $2 million bucks this year." You'd say, "Yeah, he does. Yeah, watch. Right. He just cost us $500 million bucks, $1 billion. What does it cost a team to win if they win a Super Bowl? What does it make a team?"
It's extremely lucrative.
Oh, it's got to be hundreds of millions of dollars.
From an ownership standpoint alone, you're talking about merchandise sales. You're talking about all sorts of different revenue streams that exists simply because of your team's success.
Oh, yeah. Look at what the skunk rat team of the New Orleans Saints, how long they lived on who dat, right? And how people actually paid attention to that skunk rat team for years.
At least you've let it go.
I don't like that team.
I know, me either.
Yeah.
So I got a great email.
All right.
Even though their campaign is done with us here on the Weekly Scramble and Garage Logic, I have to share this email because I love it. This is from Mike. And subject line, Slush Buster.
All right.
So even though we have a new store, I'm going to guess that at the Waconia, Frattallone,
they don't have Slush Buster.
They're not going to have a Slush Buster there.
And the only reason their campaign is done is because we're winding down out of winter.
Yeah, it's Feb.
So they can't sell Slush Busters in summer.
I love this though. Subject line, Slush Buster. Hey Reeves. Hey Mike. Love the show. My wife is a low maintenance type of gal. She is so fiscally conservative that she would make Ronald Reagan blush. She would dutifully get out of the car in front of our house and kick the slush off of her vehicle. So I got her a Slush Buster for Christmas.
Nice.
Guess what she said? She said it was the best Christmas gift she ever received.
Wow.
Ever is a big word.
That is a big
there.
word.
He also says Greg Joseph's job is now safe. Maybe not Brett Maher, the kicker for the Cowboys that missed 4 extra points. That's a great email. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. But boy, I can't say that if I got my wife a Slush Buster, she would respond with, "That's the greatest gift I've ever received."
No, I can't think of anything that I could even get my wife that would make her happy. But I can promise you, it's not going to be a Slush Buster.
Gotcha. So I have to share a tweet that I saw because the only reason I retweeted this.
Hold on. My wife is a beautiful, sweet woman.
Oh, yeah. You're going to get in trouble.
And she is super gracious when I give her a gift. She's happy all the time. I'm just saying she's got a lot of stuff and she doesn't want for anything because I provide everything that she could possibly want
including love. Endless
bedroom, love, every facet. I told you that time when I came home. Let me just real quick digress.
Please. No, go right ahead.
And she was laying in the pool and she was laying on top of a sloth blow up, a sloth, like the animal. We had a blow up thing and she was laying on top and it was like 2:00 in the afternoon and her eyes, she didn't have cucumbers over her eyelids, but it was like so relaxed.
Sure.
I think she might have had a glass of wine and she was reading her book and I just went up to her and I said, "Are you content? Like, is there anything else
can
you
I
need?
do for
Have I
you?
done everything as a man that I could do to make you happy? And she was mad at me. She's like, what do you mean? Like, I can be... She thought I was calling her lazy, and I was doing just the opposite. I was just saying, I was so proud.
Yes.
Like, what more can I do? I hope you feel good, because if this doesn't make you feel good, you're never going to feel good. This is the pinnacle of feeling good in Minnesota.
Right.
And it was so funny that great gal. Wonderful woman.
Right.
Right? Okay.
Good for you.
Okay, good.
Good for you.
She hates me. God, and I get it. I understand why she hates me.
So I retweeted this only because I wanted to remember to bring it up in your presence.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
This is from Congressman Dan Crenshaw from Texas. I know you're
the
familiar.
pirate.
You're the pirate. You're very familiar with Dan Crenshaw. He likes to point out some hypocrisy on the left, which I love personally.
Yeah, it's always fun.
And he tweeted this out yesterday. And he says the following. Bernie Sanders. We all remember Bernie Sanders.
Feel the burn.
Yes. Bernie Sanders is selling tickets to his book tour. It's okay to be angry about capitalism.
Okay.
He's selling those on Ticketmaster.
Oh, nice. That is the that he doesn't find some other way. Right? Because you think Bernie would be the guy trying to shut down Ticketmaster. Ticketmaster's going to get shut down here anyways.
Oh, right.
Because they got stupid greedy, right?
But I didn't there's so much to unpack here.
Yeah.
First of all, Bernie Sanders has a book titled "It's Okay to Be Angry About Capitalism." Well, Mr. Sanders, you're attempting to sell the book.
Yeah, give it away.
Right?
If you're angry about capitalism.
So I don't know what is it, rubric? What would that fall under then if you're
complete hypocrisy.
Oh my God. And the thing, you watch this, he's going to make so much money.
Well, didn't he say, like, you too could be a billionaire or a millionaire if you write a book like me? It's like, yeah, that's how capitalism works,
Right.
Bernie.
Welcome.
You write a good book and people like it. And then, like, even though, remember when he sat in the back, he was at some speech and he was sitting by himself and he had these mittens on.
Yes.
And those mittens became, like, a huge hit. This
They were
mitten maker.
mittens that were made from a school teacher when he was young or something.
Something like
Can't
that.
remember.
But I think they became a big hit because of those mittens.
Oh.
It is amazing how much power that people who fight capitalism have with capitalism, right? And what that the country gets this huge benefit from capitalism. And I'm not saying everything is perfect here, but it sure beats Uganda, where they don't have capitalism.
They don't have that there.
They don't. Actually, I don't technically know what they have in Uganda, but they had Idi Amin, which he was not great for the country. I'm going to promise you that.
I just love because we subject like this come up often on Garage Logic. That's the show, the other show that I'm a part of. And what I love is, oftentimes Joe will bring up circumstances of hypocrisy just like that.
Yes.
And he'll say, well, I'm more convinced that people like, whether it's Bernie or Al Gore, whoever, they don't truly believe 90% of the nonsense that they spew daily. I truly believe that. I think that they realize, oh, wait, I can make a lot of money spewing this nonsense to people that are going to believe it.
I think there's a term called cognitive dissonance where you lie to yourself enough.
Perfect.
Right? And
That
you
it
just
becomes
think
fact in your
you
own
have
mind.
to, like, Al Gore has to believe it, otherwise his jet goes away. Right?
Yeah.
He doesn't understand the hypocrisy of having a jet.
Yep.
That just doesn't work. But he is like the John Kerrys of the world, where it's more important for him to get around, which I almost appreciate John Kerry saying that. If John Kerry was doing good, he's right. It is kind of more important that he gets around, right?
Yes.
That he takes a jet. Not to mention that if he'd say, hey, every time you squeeze a ketchup packet from McDonald's, I get 7 cents from that.
Right.
It's okay. I can have a jet. We're the Heinz family. Right? That's what his wife is.
Carbon credits, we're going to pay it forward.
Yeah, we're going to pay it forward,
buy
but
our
so
way
what?
out
We
of
have
this.
billions of dollars worth of ketchup money if we want a jet. Don't take it away from me. It's none of your business if I had one. But he doesn't say that. He likes to say, hey, I'm important. It's like, well, you can still be important. Two things can be true at once.
Yes.
You can be important. And you can say, hey, I'm going to buy some carbon credits. I'm going to take my jet if I want to. The jet is not given to me from the government.
Right.
The jet is given to me from the Heinz ketchup family.
And everyone should just get a license.
Or a jet.
Give it to everybody.
Are you just trying to fish hook me?
I kind of was.
I think they should. I think everybody should get a license.
Why not?
No, I'm being serious. I think if we allow, hear me out.
Sure.
If we openly allow people to immigrate here, legally or illegally, if we know they're here, we can't pretend they're not. And why make people more dangerous?
Fair.
It's safer to have them have a license, to get a license to process through the
Fair
thing
enough.
if they're going to be here. And I think Reagan did that back in, 80 when he had the amnesty, 80s, 90s, early 90s, mid 80s. it was probably mid-'80s. Obviously, it had to be mid-'80s because that's when he was president. But he said, hey, we've allowed you to be here. With our policies, we've allowed you to be here. We weren't hunting you down and moving you to the other side of the border. And because we allowed you to establish yourself here and have a family here, it would be really poor of us to just take you and all take you out. But if starting today, if our policy was truly today, no more immigration, then everybody past today doesn't have I've been here for a while.
Right.
You've let me go to school here for 11 years.
Feb 1, sorry.
Sorry, we locked it up, and now anybody who comes afterward has got to go away. It's very tough. It's a really nuanced thing, and I don't want everybody to vote if you're not.
I did only say that just to get you going. I probably shouldn't have done that.
Thank you.
All right, so one thing that that you were saying something earlier that reminded me, and yesterday on our way to school, I was trying to, because we had a rough stretch of pretty cold mornings, right?
Do you even notice?
I kind of do, only because as I'm getting older, the snow doesn't even really bother me.
Sure.
I mean, yeah, it can make your commute longer, but okay, sure. It's just that bitter. Once it gets to 10 plus below zero, that's when I'm thinking, I
don't even notice.
You don't?
Nope.
Okay, anyway, so I was trying to explain to my two sons that, living here, because I said, hey, I had to do this with Mom because, Jessica has been here since 1998 is when she moved to the state of Minnesota. And so I had to explain to her way back when, and now my kids, winter is all about it's a mind game, right?
Yep.
You go, okay, I can get to Thanksgiving. It's because I love fall. Fall's my favorite season of the year. I can get to Thanksgiving. That's not a problem at all. In fact, I love the fall weather more than I love summer weather. I know you're going to look at me weird, but I do.
No, I get it.
I absolutely love it.
Fall's beautiful.
So then once you get to Thanksgiving, basically it's December 1st through the end of the year. And like, okay, it's the holidays. No problem. We'll get through the holidays. It's going to be fun. It's going to be festive. You get to see family. You get to stuff your fat face. It's going to be fantastic. I said the tough stretch is Jan 1 to Feb 1. That's when
it's a tough month.
You got it's a long month and it's a cold month.
Yep.
I said, so once you get to February, it's the shortest month of the year. Usually the average temperature starts to go back up. The days start getting longer.
Yeah.
I said, so once you get to Feb, you just got to make sure, okay, just as long as I can get to March. And then I said, then you get to March and it's on because then it's springtime.
Yeah,
but Dad, it can snow. It doesn't matter. When it snows in March, it's not going to be around for that long.
You barely have to shovel it.
Right.
And what they don't quite get yet, because they're a little too young, but about March 27th, Saturday, 64 degrees, and you're walking down on campus, and you see a girl wearing a sundress, and you look and you're like, I can see her legs and her arms. It's like they all come out of the shell. It's like a rebirth in spring.
Yep.
And
everyone's got the pasty white skin.
Yeah, but it's you're just like, oh my God, I get it.
Yep.
I get life again. I'm a big believer of the 21sters. So if you listen to Garage Logic, they have this thing called the 21sters, and they look at December 21st as the first day of spring. Right? Because that's the date, is that the winter equinox? No, winter solstice?
Summer solstice, yeah.
Summer solstice?
Well, to the normal people, it's winter solstice.
Okay, yes. So what it is the days start to get a little bit longer, but then what sucks is you forget is the days start to get longer, yet a little less longer every day in a couple months, right?
Right.
So in 3 months after December 21st, the days are still getting longer, but instead of longer by 4 minutes a day, it's longer by 3 minutes and 50 seconds a day.
Yes.
But if you get that mindset and you become a 21ster, it's just cold spring. Yeah. We're just getting through it.
Yeah.
And then March will come along and you'll see someone in a sundress and you'll say, I'm alive.
Right.
I'm alive.
I want to go to a baseball game.
Yeah, just think of that. Remember going to a baseball game on the first, not April 3rd where it's 41 degrees and you're all freezing. Yeah. The first one where there's sun and you don't even watch the game at all, and you had 4 beers and 2 hot dogs.
I always remember the very first home game, regular season home game at Target Field. Mm-hmm. It was April, was it 11th or 12th? April 12th. So it was early to mid-April.
It could be real cold.
But it was a 75-degree bluebird day. And this was back when we were on the radio and we had the Twins rights back then. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm not kidding you. It was because nobody had to be here because the Twins were on the radio. So we had someone else run the.
Sure.
And all of us went down to the plaza. A lot of us went to the game. And I'll never forget going, oh, yeah. this is why we live
This
here.
is why we
and
live
it was
here.
spectacular.
People ask me, so I had some people in town because we did this purchase, right? So people from our corporation, right,
Sure.
came in town to help with the closing. And they kind of looked at me, and they're not insulting enough to say, why do you live here, right? They live in Memphis, and Memphis is getting killed with this ice storm right now. But
Among other things.
Maybe killed is not the term I should have used. And they kind of look at me like, what are you doing here? But the difference between the sadness and joy is so great. It feels so unbelievable. If you live in San Diego and it's 74 tomorrow,
Right.
you don't notice it. But that first 74,
Oh, man.
that first garage door opener, right, when it hits 70
Get to
on Friday.
Frats, I got to get charcoal.
I mean, it's on.
Yes.
It's on. And what's cool about it is it might be 74 and you might still have a pile of snow in your driveway that hasn't melted yet. It doesn't matter. You are now in spring.
I haven't told you, but I'm bringing back charcoal.
Really?
I'm bringing it back.
Are you okay?
So you remember I bought my charcoal grill from your Eden Prairie store, and I remember I was doing some cleaning up in the garage a couple weeks ago, and I thought, you know what? I'm taking this out. I'm bringing charcoal grilling back.
That's not the one you dropped off at the stadium that you were going to use for the boys and then never did, and you're like, wait, there's that grill that I dropped off.
Yes,
Yes,
it's
okay,
that one. It's 100% that
okay,
one.
yes.
And I'm bringing it back.
Okay.
I'm bringing back because the smell is better.
It smells better, yeah.
And I'm here to proclaim I'm bringing back charcoal.
Oh, that's good for you.
Yeah.
Weber has a new line because it's their 75th anniversary this year.
Oh, happy
which seems like
anniversary,
they've been
Weber.
around for longer than that. But 75 years, and they came out with some of the colors that were originally grill colors. And one of them is this really light yellow.
Oh.
And I thought, who the hell wants... I don't care that it's your 75th anniversary. It's like they look like Easter eggs.
Will it sell simply because they're going to label it our original Weber grill?
No. What guy wants a yellow? Yellow's not my favorite color. I don't. It washes me out. I don't look great.
Yeah, I'm
just going to say.
I'm not a fan.
And I just thought, Weber, come on now. Okay. So we brought some in, right? If people want a yellow grill, we surely have them for you. And there's like a baby blue yellow. It just looks like Easter eggs. Huh. And Weber's done like some of the finest grill making in the world, right? They own that grilling,
absolutely,
and they come up with the coolest stuff.
They're the OGs,
yeah. So and I'm like, I could see coming out with the design, but not necessarily that color, right?
But I could see a market for this is the original, but not if it's going to be school bus yellow. No, thank you.
Well, I guess there's some fairly large organizations. In fact, Minnesota has one where people like will redo old Weber grills.
Oh, cool.
And bring them back to their glory.
Yeah.
And then go to someone's house, bring their grills, and they all like share their food on the grills that they make of these vintage grills.
Oh, cool.
A guy was telling me about that up at Ben Distillery for one of our grilling events up there, for the Rib Fest thing, the rib tasting contest. And he told me all about it, and he said, you should come to one of the meetings. And I said, I'm so glad you're passionate about that, but I'm not coming.
Zero chance.
Chances of me, I don't cook at home. I'm not going to go do it in a guy's driveway.
Right.
I mean, but it sounds really. I'll maybe drive by and give you the old thumbs up
Way
out
to
the
go.
window, like I'm proud of you.
Well, I'm proud of you.
Thank you, Reavers. You're the best.
Congratulations on the new store.
Thank you.
Please do us a favor and rate and review the show wherever you happen to be listening to the Weekly Scramble. We would certainly appreciate that. His name is Mike Frattallone. My name is Chris Reavers. We'll talk to you again next week. Until then, cheers.